first 2 or 3 times I did it. I don't know why. It's like, why the hell?
Is the
No. Okay.
I'm ready to rock whenever you are. And then only thing, Luke, is, so if you hear, I'll be talking to the mic here. Change it a little bit.
Okay.
So just try talking to the mic as best as you can, but I'll turn this on silent real quick. All right, you ready to rock?
Good.
All right, you guys, welcome to the Vigilante Podcast, episode 43. We're moving right along, and man, I'm really excited for this episode. It's been a long time since I've been able to see Luke. We have Luke Jepson here as a special guest, so thank you so much for joining us, boss.
For sure.
For sure. And then we have, as always, the Trail Ninja on here.
Hey.
Trail Ninja.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He does a lot of our editing and helps us get everything up to par with the podcast, so we're blessed to have him around. But just to get started, Luke, just to give you a quick introduction, you're still an insurance salesman, correct?
Correct.
And working in for AAA?
Correct.
And how long have you been there for?
Coming up on 4 years.
Wow, dude, time flies.
So crazy.
So this was the first place that I got to meet Luke, was when it was pretty close, about a year after I graduated high school, and started working in the insurance field and did some home and auto sales for insurance for AAA for those guys for a while. And Luke was just a stand-up guy, and I couldn't figure it out all the time because he always had this positive mental attitude. I worked every single day, and I'm like, how is this guy always so happy? And so I started to get to know him, started to understand his story a little bit and some of the trials that he had to go through and overcome. And I really think his story would be able to resonate and help a lot of people who, of course, everybody has their own challenges that they have to go through and overcome, but a lot of people who are in a tough spot in life right now. And getting that, because it's easy to get into that poor me mindset, or that, well, life's happening to me, and
For sure.
and all this stuff's happening, and what do I do? And you start beating yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
But you find out that there's so many people who had to deal with things and overcome challenges that make ours in the day-to-day life seem just like, oh, that's a little thing once you put it into perspective.
Everybody has something. Everybody has something. We don't know what it is. We don't always know what it is.
Right? Just like Sarah Hill talked about, who was the Weaver State football coach's wife, how everybody has their own, she went through cancer, and everybody had their own cancer that they had to battle. And it might not be a diseased body or a sickness that you have to overcome, but what is your cancer in essence, and what do you have to overcome? So Luke, if you'd be so kind, let's start from the beginning, and if that's all right, from the beginning of your story, and kind of tell us what happened, if that's all right.
Yeah, definitely. So just give a background on myself. I'm from Hurricane, Utah. And I grew up there my whole life until I met my wife.
Okay.
And I was all into the outdoors. I did everything outdoors. I go on the sand dunes and roll four-wheelers, and it's fine. And then I served the LDS mission.
Okay.
Got on from the mission and was planning on going to school down at Dixie.
Yeah.
And I found a truck online, and it wasn't the one I necessarily wanted, but it was really nice, and I wanted to buy it and resell it. I just put it on, and I was at work one Sunday afternoon, and I luckily was the first one to text him and say, hey, I'm coming up tomorrow to buy your truck. And he's like, all right, cool. So I woke up the next day and had to wait. Well, I go back up. I finished my shift out, and it was like 18-hour shift because I only worked like 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
And I waited for my friend to get off work, and then I waited for the bank to open so I could get a loan, and then I waited for my friend to get off work and got it for like 5 or something.
Yeah.
And it was all the way up there in Farmington, so we drove all the way up in Farmington.
Wow.
At 6 p.m.
From southern Utah all the way to
Yeah.
Farmington. Okay.
So we finally bought the truck at like 12:30 o'clock when I finally signed the papers and bought it from him.
Yeah.
And I was headed back home. By this time, I'd been up for like 40-something hours in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all. Instead of your mom.
No kidding.
Don't drive through the night.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, they were just heckling in my mind. But so we got to Beaver, Utah,
Okay.
and at the time I was driving like a '96 Honda Accord, and on those old cars you can just move that steering wheel around, and there's no issue with it, and still drive straight.
Right.
So anytime the doors off, jerk on the wheel and
Yeah.
you're totally fine. But this truck I bought had like a 6-inch lid, 35-inch tires, and it was a Toyota Tacoma. And my friend that had to work in the morning did landscaping and would wake up at 6 a.m.
Right.
So I was trying to get back in time for him to at least get some kind of sleep. And so he was sleeping in the back of the Toyota Tacoma. So I had the music off, I had the air off, all the bad things to correct, right?
Right.
So I started dozing and I had cruise control on at 85. Concept to get home sooner,
Yeah.
longer. And,
Yeah.
I hate being a nuisance to anyone, so I was grateful it came.
Yeah.
And so I kept dozing off and I jerked the wheel, and then one time I did it too hard and flew from the left lane all the way across the highway onto the right side, and the truck barrel rolled like 6 to 8 times.
Wow. He was in the back of
He
the
was in the
bed.
back, yeah. Not the bed, but
In the cab. Okay. I was like, he just
Obviously unbuckled because he was laying down.
Yeah. So luckily he was fine. He said when he felt the big jerk that he just braced himself, and he's a pretty stocky kid, so he was fine. He was just wedged in the back there.
Yeah.
And he ended up being all right. He just had some cuts and scrapes and stuff, but he was fine. And as it rolled, the door opened up and shut on my head.
Oh.
And when it shut on my head, it broke my C6 and C7 vertebrae.
Oh wow.
At the time, I didn't know this. So after the dust had settled and it lands on the tires, and I'm just sitting there thinking, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
Because I was awake for the whole thing.
Where's the C6 and C7? Is that more top or
It's,
more
yeah, it's
bottom?
more the top. So
Okay.
very top's the C1,
Okay.
and it's down, and then after the C, it's the thoracic, and then lumbar in the bottom.
Okay.
And so they say typically the higher you break up, the worse off you are.
Gotcha.
And so the truck stops, and then behind me, my friend was driving my other car. I had another friend with me driving my car to bring it back home.
Yeah.
And he pulls up on it, and it's like 3:30 a.m. at this time, just right north of Paraguna. And he comes running down. Hey, you all right? What's going on? You guys alive?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm good. I chipped my tooth though, and
That's all you.
I couldn't
That's all
feel
you
anything.
think
I was
about.
paralyzed.
Wow.
I didn't realize this at the time.
Wow.
So I'm all worried about my tooth because I was used to just, going forward on the sand dunes, hopping back up and going on the way.
Right.
So I thought nothing of it. And then my friend, you can hear him hustling around, and he gets out in the back, and he's like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm totally fine. I just chipped my tooth."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, F your tooth. I think you're paralyzed." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Can you feel this?" And then boom, I was like, "Feel what?"
Yeah.
And he starts crying. He's like, "Dude, I'm squeezing your arm. I'm hitting you in the arm with the leg right now. You can't hear it. You can't feel that at all."
So what would he see right off the bat to know that you, or to think you were paralyzed?
Yeah.
So as the door opened up, it shut on my neck, and I was just sitting in a position, just completely limp,
Okay.
holding me up as the door was holding my head.
Wow. So is the truck upright at this point?
The truck did land on its tires. Thank goodness.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he's like, "Dude, I think you're paralyzed." And he's like, "You feel this?" "No." And so it went from worrying about just my tooth, thinking I was going to get out of the truck and be fine.
Yeah.
My truck was destroyed that had for 3 hours, and I couldn't move anything.
Wow.
So at that point, then the friend that was in the car, he was already on the phone calling the paramedics, 911, whatever. And then he was calling my parents, let them know, and they ended up coming to pick me up. They did like the job of life thing. They opened up the door and put me on a stretcher, but ambulance. And they were just going to take me to Cedar, but once they realized that I was most likely paralyzed, they
Brought you
called
back.
in a life flight and put it like met the life flight somewhere off of an exit, and then they flew to Vegas.
Gotcha.
And yeah.
Wow. So what happens when you're in Vegas as soon as you get to the hospital?
Yeah, so once I was awake for just the beginning of the helicopter ride, and I remember the first feeling I felt was when it started to take off, just a vibration of it. Literally like someone hooked up an electrical fence to your spinal cord, and it was shooting pains right over the body. And I was so painful I passed out at that point.
Wow.
And then I remember just coming to and in and out throughout the whole helicopter ride. They stopped in, I don't know why, St. George for some reason, and switched pilots or something. And I remember that. But once I got to the hospital, I woke up from surgery. And I remember asking the doctor when he came in, I know I broke my neck. What's the chances of me running again because I was an active kid. I did everything outdoors, all sports.
Right.
And he said, you know, to be honest with you, the severity of your accident will give you, I maybe see a 15% chance that you're able to stand again.
Wow.
Let alone walk or anything. And so I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do here?
Right.
And then like 30 minutes later, and I don't know how long it was actually, everything was so crazy there, but another one of the doctors came in, and I don't know which one of them did the surgery or which one was there assisting for whatnot, but I asked him the same thing, and he kind of gave me the opposite answer, like, oh, yeah, you were pretty bad, but I think you'll make it a pretty good recovery, like 80% chance you're gonna walk in something.
Yeah.
I better not sugarcoat things because I want to know what I need to do
Right.
to walk again because I'm not in a wheelchair.
And how old are you this time?
I'm 21 at this time when I had the accident.
Wow.
So from then on, I had the thought like, all right, I've got to make a decision right now. I can either, you know, dwell with this and let it get the best of me and be depressed and suicidal and, you know, all the bad things that come with, you know, someone that goes through hard times like this.
Trauma.
Yeah.
And or I can do everything I need to, listen to everything that I can from the doctors or therapists from here on out.
Yeah.
And live the best life that I can. And so I've always been a positive person throughout my whole life. I hate any kind of conflict or anything that, you know, it's going to be a nuisance to somebody. So the hardest part of going through this whole thing was having to allow people to help me.
Yeah.
And so I did everything I could from there on out and lived in the hospital, acute rehab for 3 months. And then I did outpatient therapy for another 11 months. So a little over a year that I did therapy.
So what do you think it was in you that made you decide, all right, I need to do whatever I need to do to beat this? Because you hear that a lot with people, like something major will happen and they tell themselves, even with like cancer or something, they tell themselves, I'm going to beat this, rather than that mindset of, all right, I'm done, I'm going to give up, you know. What, for you, what was that conscious thought?
Yeah, good question. It's something that's not easy. It wasn't something that was immediate. It was something I definitely had to gradually and keep picking up and keep being motivated throughout. I remember one of the big things that influenced that thought was, I don't know if you've ever heard the story, Tyler Wilkinson. He was a Dixie football player. Drove up to
I think so.
drove up somewhere up north to watch his girlfriend do dance or something. He wrecked and broke his neck as well. And he was like an all,
Yeah, it
like
sounds
super
great.
crazy all-star athlete in like everything, football, basketball, and everything. So like he was super well known. He's got like a whole story out there. You watch a movie and that. But one of the nurses was friends with him, and he still lives in St. George. He's married, has like 6 or 7 kids or something. He's an accountant and everything. He's like full paralyzed, so he's in like a full-on, you know, electrical wheelchair. I think he only can move his neck.
He was probably about that age too.
Yeah, he was in high school actually.
Oh.
So he was a little younger than I was, but he ended up coming in, and at the time I was in acute rehab. They had me in one of those big electrical chairs, but I had started to get a little bit hand movement back and stuff. So when he came in, he was in his electrical chair, and while I was talking to him and asking him questions and stuff, he kept looking at my arms, and he eventually said, "Why are you in that chair?" And I was like, "What do you mean I'm in the chair? You're here because I broke my neck." He's like, "No, for real." He's like, "How much arm movement you have right now?" He's like, "It's going to be best for you in the long run, mentally and physically, to get in a manual chair and push yourself."
Wow.
And I just thought, yeah, why am I in this chair? So
That's
immediately
awesome. That's cool.
after he left, I called and had the therapist come in, and I said, "Hey, I want to get you a magazine or whatever you need to. I'm going to get a different chair. I don't want this big old, you know, huge thing." And, you know, just have that mindset that do every single little thing you can and look for ways to improve as much as you can. And
So he planted that little seed to
Yeah.
let you know, hey, I can do this.
that was huge. Yeah. And then another one was when I was getting close to the end of leaving the therapy, they always do this like home evaluation thing where they take you home and see what like modifications you do in your house and whatnot. And my grandpa he's a pretty good like contractor with like anything, fix everything. He was there when they did it, and they were talking about getting me like a remote control to turn your fan on thing. I'm always hot.
Yeah.
So I always like want to make sure my fan's on. And he's like, why are you guys gonna get him one of those? Do you want to see him stay forever? And I'm just like, boom, like
Yeah.
that is a great,
Yeah.
concept.
Like if you facilitate it,
Like
it's only gonna
instead
become-
of running out of my bed into my chair, push myself over to the light switch to flip on my light or my fan, or pushing a button, like what's gonna help me get better? So still have the normal fan. And then obviously it just comes down to your drive. I just, like I said, I was always positive, so I just looked for the best in every single thing. And I'd see people in the acute rehab. I was like the youngest one, most of them were all older people with like strokes and knee replacements and stuff. And so I just thought like, wow, that life just in a wheelchair is not worth it at all. Like I gotta do everything I can to overcome this.
Yeah. Can I go back to before we move forward on that story? Can I go back to right when your friend was hitting your arm? He says, Luke, I think you might be paralyzed. What was your thought process right then? Because I mean, I know like the only way I haven't been in too many traumatic accidents before, but there's been things where, for example, I had a buddy pass while he was in California. He got in an accident with a drunk driver, and he was 21 and passed away. That said, and that was pretty traumatic for me, and I just had a weird feeling. Like I knew something was up. As soon as somebody from California reached out to me and said, hey, have you been able to be in contact with your buddy? They were just like, oh, like a pit in my stomach. Like I knew something was wrong. Instantly, my thoughts changed. But what I'm thinking, like, that I can only compare it to is like if you get in trouble for something and boom, instantly you're like, oh shit, what's the repercussions? Like what's going to happen? Like, oh, like,
you feel it in your chest.
Yeah. So it's like growing up, because I did a lot of dumb stuff, so it's like as soon as I get in trouble, it's like boom, it's like now all the consequence, or you get called down to the principal's office and the 30 things of well, which one am I going down for? Right, and so you're trying to not incriminate yourself, but what was the thought process like as soon as that happened? Because the first you said you're worried about your tooth and ain't no big deal, and then it was like oh shit. So what was the thought process between then and getting in the ambulance?
Yeah, so as soon as he made me realize that I was paralyzed, I then started to just be overwhelmed, like what paralysis means. Like I know what paralysis means. Like you can't physically do anything. You got someone taking care of you. You can't do anything outdoors. You can't do your sports anymore. You can't.
Right.
That normal relationship type stuff. And I just started bawling, and I at that point thought like, okay, I'm gonna be dying here, because then I started to feel all the effects of the accident. Though I couldn't feel the pain, I could feel like the different like the blood flow and just going in and out kind of.
Interesting.
And so I started telling my friend like, hey, I love you guys, thanks for being my friends. Like, please tell my mom this, and tell my mom and dad this, and tell my grandma this. And that was pretty much it.
What was their reactions like?
And they just started crying, both of them, and they're pretty tough dudes. So it was like I could replay it in my mind, watching them cry. It was like the only time I ever saw them cry.
Wow.
And they just kept telling me, "No, Luke, stay with it, stay with it." And they just talked to me about things, trying to make me laugh, and all the paramedics got there. And they just tried to keep me awake and stay positive about it. So.
Man, that's incredible. And just to know that I'm excited just for the listeners to be able to hear the end of this story and where you're at now. But wow, like that's huge. That's a big experience that I don't think most people can relate to. And
I hope they don't have to.
Yeah,
no,
more than most people,
right.
I wouldn't.
thankfully.
I wouldn't wish it on the worst person. I'd rather somebody die than have to go through that. But at the same time, I wouldn't take it back.
Right.
What I've learned and what I have now.
Yeah.
How much strength of your personal being was developed after the accident instead of before?
I'd say I've grown at least twofold on what it was before. I typically would always look for the easy way out, like I made people in high school to do my book reports because I didn't want to be forced with the book. You know what I mean? And so I've had to, not that I didn't work hard, like when I worked hard, I'd work hard and I'd do what I was supposed to, but a lot of the times it's something I didn't really care about, I wouldn't do it. Whereas now, like, I try to do everything the best that I can in a way to disprove people saying, hey, you're handicapped, you can't do that, or you're not going to be successful in life because you're handicapped.
Yeah.
So from that, my stubbornness, I would say, I have been able to develop a really, I would have considered a really good work ethic and social skills and relationships and communication. And then does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think just from even looking back in like history, some of the most resilient people had some sort of handicap. There's been presidents of the United States. There's been Helen Keller. Like had to teach herself. She was deaf and mute. Had to teach herself how to speak, and then she was creating speeches before she died.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's some incredible things. And a handicap can sometimes be used as a projectile or a catalyst into the future instead of somebody normal where they take for granted what they have, and so they get complacent. That's absolutely beautiful. So where did you're in rehab, you're seeing all these people, they say obviously this isn't the life for Luke. You're seeing everybody rehab, everybody get to a place where they're getting better, but they're not really getting better. You were told from one doctor 15% of walking, and the second doctor maybe a 80% chance of standing again, right? Mm-hmm. So what happened after that?
So when I was in the rehab, I remember distinctly, back up, I guess, that my whole life, like I've always tried to figure out how things work.
Yeah.
Like, if something's broken, my dad would have me mess with it and I'd get it to work. Like
Yeah.
If it was electronic or something mechanical or just anything. So I would literally, while I was in therapy or at lunch or in my bed, watching people walk down the hall, I would just study how people are walking and what movements they had to do specifically with their ankle before their knee or maybe before the ankle or their toes or just every movement of walking.
Wow.
So that I could,
Try
to get that going back through, whether it's the broken nerves or the other nerves, to do that. So when they did try to start making me walk again, they'd have one therapist hold me up with a seat belt and bum, and then the other two would be on both my feet, picking them up, doing the motions in the correct order. So where I think what helped a ton was that I already thought that in my mind, what I have to do. So it was an easier transition to get that going.
Because your mind was telling the mind to body connection. Wow.
So now I'm thinking about it and wondering what moves first.
I don't remember now.
I'm trying to.
I just remember
maybe the thigh has to lift everything up.
Yeah, you have to push up on the toes first. That's one of the things I still can't do.
Huh.
Like even though I can hobble pretty good, I still can't push up on the toes.
Okay.
And which then you're able to swing your hip flexors forward, bring your leg forward, and then you gotta release on your calf or whatever it's called, to let your leg flow through, and then land on your ankle. I don't remember the.
And that'll help me too.
But
Right.
You know, I mean, with karate, I teach karate,
Okay.
so that'll help me with the mechanics and even a simple kick.
Yeah. Oh, totally. The concept of karate,
Yeah.
wrestling, or anything. It just you got to do all the moves in the right motion.
Yeah.
Or else you're not gonna get the end result.
Right.
So
100%. Because you wrestled, didn't you?
I did when I was little for a few years, and then I did once in high school, and then I was on the easy way out. It was the hardest thing I ever did in high school. Yeah. I did soccer, I did football, but wrestling, that conditioning practices were insane.
Yeah, there's nothing like that type of being in shape either,
Yeah.
you know, so I feel you there.
Going back to your question though, ask it again. I think I had a few more things.
Which,
The one you should ask. Sorry.
no, you're all right. I don't.
What was my mindset while people were getting
Yeah,
better?
yeah. Well, so you're watching all these people around you rehab, and you've made the decision. This isn't the life for me. This isn't. Like, it kind of sucked, you know, from what you're seeing. And you had the one doctor say that it was 15% chance, the other saying 80% chance. And how is your mindset developing? You said you started to watch other people and how they were walking down the hall and studying while you were in your bed and eating lunch. But what projected you to be like, okay, I'm doing it? Because now you're walking, you don't need well, it's not crutches, but what are the ones called where they wrap around your wrist and you hold? Are they still crutches?
More like arm crutches rather than the shoulder ones. I'm not sure.
But you don't have to wear arm crutches if that's what they're called, and you're free moving. You're walking on your own. You're driving on your own. You're, in essence, changes like defying the odds of what should have happened. What consisted after? Obviously, you're working with the nurses, things like that. But what else had to consist of your development to get to where you're at?
I think it came down to the different people coming in. I had that Heather Wilkinson, and
Right.
I also had another guy that had been in there just a few years earlier that broke his neck on a 4-wheeler dirt bike out of his hand in Thermidor Hollow.
Okay, in St. George, Utah.
Yeah, he was a roofer. He broke his neck, I think, a little bit lower than me.
Yeah.
But he was still hobbling around. It wasn't very good. Like the doctors were saying he's gonna have knee replacements like every year. He was walking that way.
Dang.
It was pretty painful to watch him walk.
Yeah.
But he even came and talked to me and just, to do everything he can. And so I think it was just the consistency of people coming into my my room or coming in and talk to me
Right.
about what I was going through and how I need to train my mindset to have the best outcome possible. And another one of the biggest things I left out is while I was still in the rehab, they sent me down back to Vegas to meet with the doctor.
Okay.
As like a post-op evaluation to see how things went.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were there, I was in the push wheelchair at this time where I push it.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was 2 months after or 6 weeks after.
Yeah, take a drink if you need to, boss. No worries. No worries at all. You on that on the other side?
Possibly.
Yeah, pleasure.
Anyway, so we go down to the doctor somewhere between 2 and 3 months after the accident. And I remember sitting in the waiting room, and he comes in and he says, like after he's looking through my charts, okay, I remember this. So what can you do? And I said, you want to see? And he was like, sure, thinking like,
Yeah.
move your fingers or something.
Right.
So I stand up and I could like pivot around at this point and grab onto things and like move myself around kind of like a baby does when they learn how to walk. And he gets this big crazy look on his face and he's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He's like, when I did
Wow.
surgery on you,
Wow.
I would have bet hundreds of thousands of dollars you would never stand again.
Wow.
He's like, you were messed up. He's like,
Yeah.
the fact that you're doing that is amazing. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And, so from the very beginning, the 3 months, and with the spinal cord injury, they say the first 18 months after your accident, based off all the studies, whatever you regain is what you'll get for the rest of your life. And
So
that's-
that first 18 months is
first
crucial.
super crucial to what you get back is with all the studies and background. It is what you're gonna have throughout the rest of your life. Obviously, there's some people that have spinal cord injuries or whatever, and they randomly will wake up one day and they can move their whole arm or whatever.
Really?
Just because the nerves have finally grown back enough that they can do that. But as far as like permanent damage and stuff, that's what they give you about 18 months. So
Wow.
from that right there, around 2 to 3 months, I heard that from him.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, all right, I've got
It's time to
No,
learn.
yeah.
I've got 15 more
Quarter.
months to
Yeah.
bust my ass and do everything I can to walk again. So, it's just a consistency of the different people coming into my life at the right time to keep me motivated, keep me going. And then I had awesome friends and family that would take me. They'd still take me. My friends were all pretty crazy and wild, and they'd still take me to hang out with girls and take me out on their four-wheelers, out on the sand dunes, out on their boat, and tie a bunch of life jackets on me. And, it was fun.
Right.
They still find a way to keep me happy. And
That's so
they'd come
cool.
over with their girlfriend or their random chicks they met and come watch and all of us would lay on my bed and watch a movie on my big TV.
Yeah, nice.
And so it's just surrounding yourself with the right people and have that support that unfortunately a lot of people don't have when they go through that stuff.
Wow, that's
So
beautiful.
going back to these people that came to visit you in the hospital and stuff, who coordinated that? And do you go visit people now?
Yeah. So the first guy that came, I can't remember if it was a security guard or if it was the nurse, and they were really good friends. One of them lined him up, and then the therapist lined up the other guy.
Okay.
And then there was one other guy that came to see me. And I don't remember who lined him up to come. But yeah, I've gone and seen 4 or 5 different guys. One of them was back down at that same rehab for a guy that had gotten an injury. He got an injury actually a few years before I did, but he was back in rehab again because I think he had fallen and broken something. So he had to go there because he was, already paralyzed. So they're just going where he could help. And he was just really depressed and stuff. And so they had me come in and talk to him, just basically, give it to him straight. Look, dude, you can either keep living the way you've been living, because he was just like living at home and didn't work, just
Yeah.
depressed and
Didn't care to do
didn't
anything.
care to do anything. I think he was like a gunshot wound or something.
Oh,
And so he was one of the first that I saw. And then there was some athlete, I think he was a basketball player at Utah State a few years ago, went diving in the ocean on a ball break or something, and dove wrong and broke his neck down there. And so I went and saw him, and they brought him up to the hospital in Salt Lake. And then there was another kid, his name was Carson Tuller. He's really awesome if you follow him at all. I can't remember the background, but I think he had just got home from a mission. And all his family was together, and they went to one of these like trampoline jump on places.
Yeah.
And he was like a gymnast in high school, and so he's really athletic, and he jumped just imperfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfectly perfect, and just went straight down head first into the concrete, broke his neck,
oh,
and he was like 20 at the time.
yeah.
And so I went and saw him too, and his was almost an exact word of mine.
Gotcha.
And so it's been, I really enjoy it, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me that's had family members or friends that have broken their necks.
That's what I was gonna
and
ask.
stuff, and
Is it family that contacts you, or who contacts
it's
you?
honestly, it's been completely random people, or like my wife will see somebody on like social media in the state or in the area, and we'll reach out to somebody and say, hey, like,
Awesome.
my husband broke his neck when he was 21. He has a pretty good recovery, and we'd love to come talk to you if you're open to that. And they're always like, oh yeah, please do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
How much would you say the mindset of somebody that gets injured determines the recovery of the injury?
it depends on the injury. Like with the spinal cord, there's a complete and there's an incomplete. Complete meaning the spinal cord is completely cut.
Like so,
covered. Okay.
And there's no way, unless technology comes out with something, there's no way that's going to come back. But mine was incomplete, so there was still some of it attached. So,
Does the spinal cord grow back at all over time?
The nerves can. They just take really long time.
Okay.
For example, like where that 18-month mark, what I got at 18 months is exactly what I have now. I've just gotten more strength and more balance.
Gotcha.
I haven't got anything else back. Like there's sometimes I'll move my hand or my fingers a little more, and so damn, it doesn't work all the way. And I'll be like, whoa, I can do that more than I used to. But whether it is or not, I don't know. Just sometimes I can breathe it.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
29.
Okay.
So 8 years.
Yeah, so coming up on 8 years actually in 10 days.
Wow. Happy anniversary, and look how far you've come. What an accomplishment, though.
Yeah.
Where do you think, because dude, technology is going nuts, and we had this conversation when I was at AAA of where do you see technology in 5 years, in 10 years for rehabilitation methods?
Specifically regarding like spinal cord injuries. I think it's coming really fast. There's lots of stuff that like vets and stuff have access to.
Okay.
Like there's tons of videos I've seen where there's someone that's fully paralyzed that was a vet that got injured like years and years ago, and we got him in some kind of a contraption, like it's like
Almost like a robotic thing.
almost like a robotic suit that kind of like gets set into,
Like an Iron Man.
and they like reroute their nerve signal or something.
For real,
Yeah,
though?
actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And they're like walking around, and obviously it's more robotic of a walk and it's slow and stuff, but for someone who's been in their wheelchair for years and years, or you know what I mean, and now they're able to like stand up and walk around with the assistance of that. It's awesome. And then there's been different things I've seen where they've rerouted, like someone lost their arm or their hand, and they put on some contraption and somehow go in and attach it to the nerve and stuff, and they're able to reroute the signal to control that device. So I think it's it's within the. I honestly think within like 20 years they'll have some kind of technology that I'll be able to walk better than I do now, whether it's running around with my kids or not. Or health insurance covers it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's definitely right around the corner. It's going to be here. It's not already. It's just how it's getting pushed out financially.
That's incredible. So my next question, I guess, would be because for the first 21 years of your life, you were outdoors, you were ready to rock, you were doing your own thing. As soon as you were going through that recovery, I know you had mentioned like people saying you can't do that because you're handicapped. What type of like insecurity did that bring you, or did it? Was it more like, no, I'm going to prove this person wrong, or did it at the beginning make you feel that?
Where I've always stayed positive, I never really let conflict. I would just kind of, laugh about it and stuff. And that's honestly
Were people rude to you?
Not really. The only thing that people's ever been rude to me is like it's a compliment at the same time. But like when me and my wife were dating, when we first got married, she was 22, 23.
Don't get this wrong.
Yeah.
And she had just turned 19, and so we're young, and I already look like younger than I am, right?
Yeah.
So we would like pull up into a handicap stall at Walmart or something, and like people would freak. Not all the time, but people would freak or look at you like, "What are you pumpkins doing?"
Yeah.
And I remember this one time actually at the Harrisville Walmart. It was a summer day, and we had the windows down and we rolled up and parked in the handicap stalls. And it's one of those ones that's like perpendicular or parallel with the lane.
Yeah.
So someone's driving this way, and I pull up in there, window to window, and this guy, as I'm parking, we hear somebody like yelling. So I turn off the car, and he's just standing there yelling, "What the hell are you kids parking there for? What's wrong with you? Blah blah blah. You need to move. Let someone else out. They should just park there." And I'm looking at my wife like, "What the heck?"
Right.
And he doesn't know.
Right.
So we're just like, okay, whatever, roll her windows, put the handicap placard up, and start hobbling inside. And this is back, 5 years ago or so. And I still couldn't walk super good. Like, I'd usually try to grab a shopping cart and use that to balance.
Yeah.
But I had just barely made it in those double open doors. And I feel someone touch my shoulder. And the guy, he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I don't know your situation. He's like, I've got a daughter that's in a wheelchair.
Oh,
And it just makes me so mad when people park in that can easily walk or, are fully capable. And, I wasn't mad. We were just like, he doesn't know me.
right.
So I was just like, hey, it's a talk kid. I totally understand you. And he's like, I'm really sorry. I feel so bad about that. And I shouldn't have said anything. He's like, I hope you have a good day. Best of luck to you and whatever. And, it was cool that he came and said that to me. But, that's really like the only thing I've had as far as people being mean. Other than that, like my friends, and it's actually something that helped me get through the whole situation is.
Oh, friends are brutal.
Say, come on, you crippled ass. Make jokes about it and stuff, and I just laugh or like in games and stuff, like my username like slow stroll or crippled united or just make a joke out of it. Cause, that's just how I make jokes about things. And it offended me when people were like extra cautious, like even now I still have some people like try to help me get in a car or something. I'm like, I know you're trying to help me out and I appreciate that, but I need my independence. I need to be able to do everything that I am able to do. Let me do that.
Right.
So there's just, I don't know, I think it comes down to the person and their personality, but for me specifically, there wasn't many times that I was offended. And I really never ever been offended of anything because, everybody's always judging.
Right.
And
Exactly.
everybody has to work on. And
Yeah.
even me, sometimes there's this one kid at work that drives a big jacked up truck. And I don't know if it's his handicap packer or not, but he'll park in the handicap, hop out of his truck, and take off running into the work. And I'm thinking, all right, I gotta have somebody else's handicap placard because what the heck's wrong with him? But you know what I mean? Maybe
Right.
he got something wrong with that. I don't know.
Right.
So
No, that's so interesting. And just like you just never know. You never know somebody else's story. So what was it like? And if this is too deep, no worries. But what was it like dating your current wife at the time with that that experience? Like how did she react to everything, and how did you guys all come together? Because I've been fortunate enough to meet her, and she is absolutely incredible, man. You guys are just a stand-up couple. So I'm blessed to even know you guys.
that's right, man.
So-
She is. Yeah, I really lucked out on her, and my family reminds me of it every time I see her. She's a bit of a wife. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's hardworking. She takes care of the kids. But to answer your question, I remember when I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And where I said earlier that the hardest thing, and it's still the hardest thing, is having to let. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Having to let people help me through things.
So just a pride thing, because for me it's a
Yeah.
pride thing.
Yeah, like I was so independent. I wanted to do everything by myself. I wanted to do it my way. And if it was wrong, I learned from it. And I was an idiot and should have done it the way that they told me to do it. But
Right.
like I wanted to do it. And so where it came down to like having 4 guys watch me in the shower because I couldn't, I couldn't watch myself. Like
Right.
it was super humbling that, that's people's career. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
So going through the dating process, my mindset at the very beginning of the accident was I don't ever want to get married because I don't want anyone to have to take care of me.
Oh wow.
I don't want to be, not able to, teach my kid how to kick a soccer ball because I love soccer. There were just so many things going through my mind. Like I just don't want to get married because I don't want to have to go through that. I don't want someone to have to take care of me and be a burden to anybody. And then after I got to where I could kind of walk a little bit better and, got more confident with myself, I went on a few dates here and there, just a few girls here and there.
Yeah.
And then I was a guest speaker at a Jubilee of Trees event at St. George
Okay.
for the hospital.
Yeah.
And they were actually raising money for rehab. They keep the spinal cord injury department.
Yeah.
They didn't have one at the time. That's why I had to go from Cedar to
Gotcha. To
Vegas.
Vegas.
because it was shorter than going from Cedar to Salt Lake. So they opened up I don't know if it's open yet. I think it is now. But they were starting a fundraiser to earn money for that. And I was the guest speaker at that. And my wife at the time lived up here in Ogden, but she was going to Dixie. She had just graduated high school and was going to Dixie. And her aunt's husband worked for Remax, and they were like a big sponsor of it, so they had some tickets to this event.
Yeah.
There was like the Osmonds there. And so she ended up going with my aunt, and she sat right behind me. And I saw her come in because the whole time I wasn't even going to go to this event. Oh no, sorry, I'm mixing the stories. So there was the guest speaker event, and then the next night was the concert. Okay. And I wasn't going to the concert because it's like, I don't want to go to a bunch of Osmonds. Like,
Yeah.
that's old people stuff. So I gave my 2 tickets to my mom and dad, and they're gonna go. And then I don't remember what I did that night, Friday night, but I was out late and stayed up. And then I went to bed and woke up at like, I don't know what time it was, 2 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
Like, I had life back then, therapy. And so I text my friends, and they were all doing something else. And so I was like, all right, last minute, I was like, all right, mom and dad, I'll go with you, and we'll just buy a ticket. So I went with them, and the whole time, old people, I don't even care about, I never want to go to plays or anything. I've never been to a concert before, and it just wasn't my thing. And I remember right before it started, like I was just standing up, looking around because I got all the Christmas trees and stuff. And I remember this young girl walking in, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And she just kept walking, getting closer and closer, and she rounds the corner and then walks right in front of me. So I just sit down, like, what the? And she sat right behind me.
Yeah.
Right behind me, all the hundreds of seats. And so I turned to my mom, and I was like, I'm going to get this girl's number.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right. And then they started thinking, like, play my video, telling about my accident and everything. And then, did their little thing. And then at the very end, the whole time, I'm thinking, like, how am I going to get this girl's number? And meanwhile, my aunt, or my wife's aunt, she, I guess, said hi to me the night before. I don't know, a bunch of people said hi to me, so I didn't remember.
Right.
But she, as soon as it ends, she taps me on the shoulder and she says, hey, Lou, do you remember me from last night? Me and my husband shook your hand. He's not here, blah, blah, blah. This is my niece I brought with me. She used to live in Hurricane. And started asking me, do you know these people, blah, blah. But she was like 4 grades younger than me, so I didn't know.
Right.
And through the concert, they were trying to think of a way how they were going to get my number. And I told my mom I had her number.
Right.
So I, talked to her for a minute, and then I just said, what are you doing tomorrow night? And she's like, I just have school until this time. And I was like, all right, what's your number? Going on a date. So I got her number, and this was Saturday night, and then we hung out Sunday, and went on a date on Monday, and we dated for like 3 months, got married. And,
the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. But going back to your question, sorry.
No, you're all good.
What was the hard parts, or what was the trials going through that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting back to dating. I still have to use a catheter because that's one of the biggest things that messes with your bowels and your going pee.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest things, was like, I don't want someone to have to deal with that or whatever. Like, that's super personal.
Yeah.
And she had been a CNA for several years. So she already knew, like, when she heard that I had a spinal cord injury, 99% she was sure that I had a catheter, and I would just tell her when it was the right time. So I didn't even bring it up until, I think it was like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And she actually, I was just like, hey, like, I started crying. I was like, I just have to tell you this. Like, of course, things get more serious. But I have to use the catheter. And she just laughed. She's like, I don't care. I already knew this.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell?
Right.
What am I trying to
Why do you tell me?
Right.
And she's like, yeah, I've been to CNA for, this. I know what happened with spinal cord injury. So she's like, that's fine. And I was like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And basically from there on out, how chill she was about it, really helped me so much. Just have the confidence to just keep moving on with the relationship, and that it can be all right. And luckily, her parents have taught her so many things that a lot of guys don't even know. Like all my stupid friends, a lot of friends don't know anything about cars, and like she's able to do like knows how to change a tire,
Nice.
knows how to do some maintenance and stuff.
Right.
And so it's just she's been so helpful and never complains about anything and does everything that I can't do. And there's been times where I like will get frustrated because I can't do it, and
Right.
I can't even teach her to do it. But it's been something we've been working on, and
That's what YouTube is for.
yeah, exactly. So we got to the point where I was like, hey, look, I've got to be able to help with something so that I don't feel like just a wasted man. And so she'll like, okay, you can help me by doing this or this or this.
Yeah.
And do the dishes or do that. And so I think it's really good, and we have a great relationship. But yeah.
No, I love that because that's something
Yeah.
that I'm figuring out right now because we're starting a business. Is just like there's some things that aren't my strength, and there's some things that I don't know how to do or I can't do all by myself. And just like you said, it's very because I'm a very prideful. I've grown up our whole family like it's just ingrained in us like pride, So as soon as it is humbling to be able to be like, okay, I have to trust in somebody else to be able to get something done, even if it's not my strength and it might be their strength. But I can't be the guy that puts all the weight on my shoulders. It gets too heavy. It gets too heavy and you can't do it all the time. So just being able, I think anybody could relate to that in some shape or fashion, to where just humble yourself to allow other people to help you, assist
Yeah.
you, and get things done. Because at the end of the day, as long as the result's there, it doesn't matter how the result happened.
Yeah.
As long as the result's there and you guys are accomplishing what you need to accomplish, it's a big win.
Exactly.
But if we hold our pride there and we get stuck, we might never even get the result. And so now you have 2 kids, correct?
Mhm.
How long you been married?
Been married. We just had our 6th year.
Congrats.
Don't get that.
Oh, yeah.
6 years.
It's the
You
Lord.
can't ask those tough
I
questions.
know,
like
man.
that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Wes.
7.
It's 2019 right now, so September. Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
8.
No, that was my ex's 2013. So 6 years.
Okay. Perfect.
6 years in August.
I love
That's
it. Absolutely. Sorry, boss. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here. But no, man, that's incredible. So where do you see your future going as far as do you want to continue in the insurance world? Do you want to continue being an inspiration? Obviously, you're an inspiration to others. Do you want to like amplify that to get into maybe like a speaking circuit, or what are you looking to do in your future?
Yeah, I've spoken a lot of like different youth groups, or I even met one time with a bunch of the IHC. I don't know if they're doctors or therapists or something, but I met and then spoke to like 30 or 40 of them on how they could, how they can treat their patients when they're going through hard times to help them out.
Right.
So I love things like this, meeting with people, talking about it, because it really does come down to your mindset and
Right.
the attitude that you have to overcome something.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's restrictions such as the spinal cord that's got.
Right.
I can't tell someone listen to everything they say and you're walking in, like it's impossible.
Yeah.
Unless they want some kind of research or something. But, I love doing speaking. So my wife actually started writing a book with me. I didn't write it or type it or anything. She's the one that's all smart on that stuff. But just of my whole story and things, we haven't gotten that far on it. But
Yeah.
I love the communication of it.
Right.
And I don't know that I do something full time, but I'd love to meet and speak other places.
Right.
As far as a career, I've almost got my bachelor's degree in sales.
Okay. Beautiful.
One, because it's easy. It's the easy way out. It's one of the easiest programs out there. And I love to communicate with people.
Yes.
I love talking to people. As far as insurance industry, I don't think I'll stay in that. I've been on the phones now ever since basically I got married, so like 6 years. And I'm just getting burned out of it, so I want to do something more that's interactive.
More face to face.
Once I get my degree in the next year or so, I'm going to try to do something with like medical or pharmaceutical sales.
Okay.
some pretty good money, and
Yeah.
something I think
Yeah.
get the message across. Pretty
Yes,
good. Of course,
absolutely.
had a lot of the experience in there, but and that's the plan to live up north and close to my wife's family and they're meeting up.
I love it.
I don't know how to do that but
That's cool.
Oh, that is super cool. And anything that we can do honestly to assist you in that path, let us know. And I think there's going to be some future events that we may be looking to hold that we're definitely going to be bringing you to come talk in the future. So, and obviously that might be a little ways away, but we've been in contact this long. We'll be in contact for a little bit longer,
Yeah.
And then as far as the book goes, when you decide to release that, let me know. I'd love to help promote that for you. And if you'd be so kind, I'd love to purchase one of the copies from you as well. So no, let me buy one from you. Let me buy one from you because that's hard earned. That's hard earned, and it takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes a lot of work to be able to develop that. So yeah, man, I'm just very thankful. Before we start to wrap this up, do you have any last questions?
I do. Is there anything physically that, it's been what, 8 years, that you just can't feel at all right now?
Yeah, so good question. As far as recovery, I've gotten everything back but the catheter. My left hand I can't use a
Outside?
lot. I can't open it up all the way, but I can hold stuff.
Oh,
If I
okay.
put it in there and put the wrist, it's called tenodesis. When somebody breaks their neck, they try to see immediately what are they getting back.
Mm.
Should we stretch out their fingers so that if it does come back, they're able to use them more, or should we keep it, tight so that if it doesn't come back, then they can have this, which is called tenodesis. So I can still use my hand. Because a lot of times you'll see people that's gone through a stroke or spinal cord injury, and their hands are just kind of like noodles like this.
Yeah.
It's because they stretched them too early,
Mm.
so they don't have this function that I do. So,
Interesting.
as far as my left hand, the left side of my abs haven't come back at all, so I got a nice belly here. And then my left hip flexors didn't come back, and my left dorsiflexion, so I can't lift up my toes. So that's why I have that brace on and can hobble around the way I do.
Gotcha.
I use my wheelchair pretty much anywhere that's not, walking into a house. I'm in and out of work. I use it
Okay.
walking.
Yeah.
And I usually get, hurt pretty bad. As far as feeling goes, from my chest area down, I don't have any sensation of cold or hot, unless it's extremely hot. There was one time actually, shortly after my accident, we went forward and made a fire and had those little tinfoil dinners, and I wasn't thinking anything of it. I figured out, oh yeah, this is hot. I won't bother with it, but I sit in my canopy chair and I put it on my lap and start opening it up and going to town eating it. A couple hours later, I get home, go to the bathroom. I got these big old fried legs because it just burned me and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as far as feeling goes, I got pretty much everything back other than from my chest down, the temperature sensation, and I can feel if somebody were to hit me.
Okay.
But somebody pinching me or touching me, it all feels the same, just very mild.
And I got a question now, speaking of that, and I don't know if this is too far. Don't feel free. Obviously you have 2 kids now, so things are functional, but is there feeling there at all?
Yes and no.
But blood flow is normal.
Yes and no.
Okay.
That was another thing we didn't know if we were going to be able to have kids. That's one of the big things that messes with down there. And luckily, and super potent or something.
Yeah.
First time on both of them.
Wow.
So,
Incredible.
yeah, so I got real lucky on that. I still to have kids, and literally I wouldn't take it away.
Oh yeah.
It's there's obviously things I wish I could do, but there's so many things I have now that I wouldn't trade.
Yeah.
Right.
And but yeah, answering your question, it works
Right.
sometimes.
Fair enough. No, that's cool. And I just gotta say, I'm so appreciative of you just being able to be real, raw, and honest with us, and not sugarcoat it, because this is the real questions that people have, and I think, man, I'm just so excited for the feedback and all the people that we're going to be able to hear that you've helped just from going through your story.
For sure.
So,
Well, like I said, it takes the attitude and the mindset to overcome these things.
right.
And obviously, I had all the family support, friend support, that people come into my life that get me in that. But it really does come down to how are you going to deal with this?
Yeah.
And even now, when things happen, like my wife will get all stressed about it or cry about it, and I just say, "Hey, look, are we alive?
Right.
Are our kids okay?"
I like that you said that
It's
too.
fine.
'Cause-
Like it goes on. It already happened.
Yeah.
What's the point of crying or freaking out or screaming about it? Like obviously you get to express your emotions somehow, but just move on. Let's go with the next thing. And that's what you got to do.
That's kind of the main theme that I took out of this is mindset. Just that one, that one word, mindset.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Changes everything. Yeah, changes everything. I love it. Well, before we wrap this up, do you have any last words last gold nuggets to give to the listeners, Luke?
Anyone that's going through something, whether it's physical, mental, addiction, whatever, you're going through that for a reason. I firmly believe that. And you're going to be a better you when you're able to overcome that. You just got to stick with the right mindset and the right attitude to overcome that. And the results of that are going to be amazing. Like I said, I was a hard worker and, for the most part, did everything right when I had to before my accident. But now I have to think of it as I'm a really good work ethic, and I will do anything I have to, especially in sales when things are based off commission.
Yeah.
I get down to it, and I do everything I need to make as much money as possible because I got bills, I got a family, I got stuff I got to pay for. So whatever you need to do to figure that out, whether it's call somebody for some support or anything, you just do it because the outcome is going to be amazing, and you're going to be able to use those experiences to help other people out and keep them.
100%. If somebody that's going through something and they felt like you might have an avenue or something that maybe we don't, how would somebody be able to reach out to you?
Cell phone, email, Facebook.
Do you have Instagram too, right?
I do. I
Don't use it right now.
get on Facebook or Instagram anymore.
Okay.
Honestly, it's probably my wife's the easiest to reach on. She's always on that thing.
Okay.
And I think the last post I posted was there was one night back when I was critical that I ate some crackers while I was watching TV and went to bed and woke up the next morning and I crushed a whole bunch of crackers. I was sleeping on them. I didn't even know it back at like 7 years ago. So I don't even hardly know how to work that, but I do get on every now and again and check stuff out. But yeah, they can email me or whatever.
Okay. Is there an email you feel comfortable sharing with the listeners or something?
Luke Jepson _QQ @hotmail.com.
Is it LUKEJEPPS or just
one thing?
Okay, so
LUKEJEPSON _Q Queen.
perfect. You're the
And that I
man.
check every day, so.
Perfect. Yeah, reach out to him.
I'm
Man.
not sharing anything or anything you want to know or talk to you.
Yeah, Luke's absolutely incredible. Like I said, I couldn't wait to have him on here because he's a stand-up guy. And like I said, Luke, we're just so thankful to have you on and you being willing to share what you shared today. So if there's anything, and you already know this, but if there's anything that we can do for you, boss, don't even hesitate to reach out. We'll do anything in our power to make it happen.
All right.
So good. You're a stud, Luke. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Good. Thanks for coming out.
Yes, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And as always, guys, coming to you raw.
Good stuff. I like it.
Incredible, Luke.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm glad you guys had